Awesome. Welcome everybody to the That's Audacious podcast. We have the most wonderful Janine Leghissa with us today from Desiderate Jewellery, and I cannot wait to share her story with you. Janine, I'm going to let you introduce yourself because you have such an amazing brand story from how you got started in business and the real passion behind what you do. So let us know, who are you and what is Desiderate and how did you get started?
Okay. Hi, Lauren, and hi, everybody. And thank you so much for having me on your podcast. This is fabulous. So, everybody, I'm Janine, and yes, my brand is called Desiderate. It's I have a bit of a different backstory. The reason that I went into business, as some of you are aware, I wasn't really setting out to start a business. Things went downhill for me. I was diagnosed with a chronic illness. I was really unwell. I was on chemo. I lost my home. I couldn't work. It was a nightmare. It was bad times. So I started selling my own belongings, my own jewellery. I used to have designer clothing. So I just sold whatever I could, really, because I had my children. I had 3 children to support and no income. So that's how it started, and I sold through through Facebook, and then I discovered that people liked buying online, and so then I decided, well, if I can actually do this, I can start a business, and I started selling bits and pieces, and then I thought, well, I'm the sort of person that if I'm going to do something, I have to be really proud of it, and it has to be something that I'm passionate about. So I have a background in colour and design, and a love for pretty sparkly things and a bit of a fascination with gemstones. So I started designing my own jewellery and sourcing gemstones from all around the world. And yeah, I built a website, I've built an online store, and and that's now how I support my family and also my team here in Australia, my team online, and our artisans in Indonesia, India, and Thailand.
It's such an amazing story, Janine, because you don't often hear of people who start a business because they know exactly what they want to do. And in reality, you didn't. That wasn't the whole idea, was it? It was, I need to earn an income. I need to put a roof over my head. What can I do? I just love the fact that, you came from a place where selling your jewelry, the things that meant a lot to you and selling all sorts of things from your life led to an extraordinary brand and an amazing business. Could you, if you went back to that time where you were really, the lowest of low and having to sell your possessions and imagine what your life is like now with the great brand that you have, would you like to go back and give yourself some advice of what that would have been like?
Well, I guess the advice that I'd give is probably the advice that I gave myself then, which is really just don't give up. That's when things get bad, you've got 2 options, haven't you? You either give up or you just give it all you've got and keep going. And that's what I did. I get a bit emotional even thinking back to those times because it was tough. It was really tough. But, we've got a fabulous business going now. And my advice really is just to keep going, do your best, keep going, day after day after day, do what you need to do, keep on doing it, and it's progress. You just keep progressing and keep getting better at what you do and keep learning.
Yeah, brilliant. I love that. It's a journey, isn't it? There certainly isn't just this overnight success. There's so much that goes into it. Now, when you started, of course, you had no idea what it would be like to run a jewelry business. And obviously it was just let's see how we could go. Let's see what happens. But I know you've done really well. You started out on a Facebook page, didn't you? You've done quite well out of using social media to drive your brand awareness and to build the business. Tell us how you got started on Facebook doing that.
Well, as I said, I was selling my own belongings just on Facebook, on my own personal page. Facebook was fairly new. And then I set up a group and was selling through, belongings through the group. And that's when I realized the power of social media, and people were telling their friends, you can get this great stuff and da. So that's when I had to learn to set up a website. So that was another learning curve. I mean, I had no cash. I had no funding. So there was no outsourcing. It was Google was my friend. I just had to learn how to do everything myself. And the website has got better and better and better as I've got better at that, along with other things. But social media has really been one of our most powerful things. So starting on Facebook, and our target audience are present on Facebook. So our main target audience are like 35, 40 plus women. We have some younger ones, but I don't go after the younger, really younger crowd. I don't have credibility there. You know, I make beautiful things for women in my age group who know what they want, who know what they like, who are sick of buying fashions that come and go, and I give them what they want, and we talk to them how they want to be spoken to. We look after them just like we'd like to be looked after, and that's been super, super powerful for us. So say on our Facebook page we have about 50,000 followers, and we get so much interaction. And when people say, oh, Facebook's dead, you can't get anything through a Facebook page, well, I have to disagree, because our customers are really communicative and have great discussions right on Facebook. We also use Instagram, of course, as everyone does, but it's not as powerful. It's still powerful for us. We have over about 14,500 followers, I think, but it's not as powerful for our business as Facebook, because our customers are on Facebook. You know, they're scrolling, they're looking at their friends' grandkids, they're seeing who's on holidays or not over the last few years. They're looking at cat photos, and then they see a post like, oh, look at that. You know, I like that. And I'll be showing them something new, and they'll comment. And yeah, it's been really, really, really powerful.
Brilliant. And I know you haven't completely come to this amazing environment of being an entrepreneur in the jewelry industry without any other skills. You've got a background that's really helped you. How have you pulled on those talents that you had from your other jobs in the past to help you in your business?
I think, well, designing jewellery, because I don't have a degree in design or anything like that, although I worked with international hairdressing companies for a long time. A lot of roles were created for me. So originally I was a hairdresser who specialised in colour. I used to do a lot of show work, and then I fell into education in that industry with big companies teaching people about colouring. And then I actually worked alongside with a chemist developing products, so developing colours for a company and developing all sorts of products. So my background was in, you know, colour, really understanding colour and how it works. And yeah, it came from hairdressing originally, but it doesn't matter where it comes from. Understanding colour and understanding design is across the board. I made a living for a few years out of painting, so that was really interesting. Again, I have no formal training in painting. In fact, I was on holidays and I saw a painting I really liked, and it was about $8,000. And I thought, oh, I'd really like that. And then I thought, oh, bugger it, I'm just going to go and paint myself one. And I did. And yeah, it was my own interpretation. It was abstract and it was colourful. And I was painting when a friend of mine called up to my place with a bottle of wine, you know, as you do, and said, oh, I didn't know you're an artist. And I said, oh, I didn't know either. And he said, oh, well, how much would you sell that for? And I said, how much would you pay for it? And he said, oh, $400. And I thought, oh, sold. So that was how I started in selling paintings. And I went on to have several exhibitions and made a living out of it for a few years. And again, it's that background in colour. So right back to our humble hairdressing beginnings, it's design, it's balance. And that has worked for me in designing jewellery as well, because your mind, it's just a creative mind that you can see how things will look. You can imagine the colors that are going to work and the balance of how things are going to look when people are wearing it. And yeah, and so I think that's how I've used my background in this instance.
Brilliant. I love it. And you're right, it's finding what works and calling on those amazing talents and natural skills that you have. But as you said as well, it's understanding your audience, isn't it? Understanding what they want. And I know you sort of design for yourself, don't you? I know you struggled in the early days to find things that you really wanted, Australian silver, that's really hard to get hold of, quality and so on. So do you think a lot of your success has come from knowing that other people had the same problems you did and you were solving a problem for them?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I looked at the problem out there where people, they wanted they wanted, you know, a bit boho, a bit bling. That's our tagline. So people wanted something different. They want that boho style, but a lot of boho style was really poor quality and fell apart after a few years. And they wanted it to be a little bit better quality, almost like, you know, a little bit herbal, but in a classy sort of way. So that's where I was coming from, that I couldn't find that. People couldn't find it. They couldn't find things that they wanted. And so, yeah, so I've really tried to create to fit that spot in the market that just wasn't being catered to. So quality jewellery with genuine gemstones, and a lot of it is handmade, you know, with love. So they're beautiful one-off pieces, and it's not like they only have to wear them once or twice and they're throwaway. They're going to stand the test of time. But we also hit that sweet spot. So between cheap costume jewellery that doesn't last and really high-end, super expensive jewellery, I've really targeted that middle market where, yes, you have to pay more than cheap throwaway stuff, but it's quality and it doesn't have the high-end price tag that if we were making every separate piece separately, this doesn't sound right, it would be more expensive. So the way we do that is I source parcels of stone from all over the world, and then I have that stone all cut at one time and then all set at one time. So they're done by hand, they're cut, they're set by hand, but they're done in bulk together, and that's how I keep the costing down. So we also do custom pieces, but there's a price difference in sourcing one small piece of stone, cutting one piece of stone and making one piece. And by doing it all together, that's how I'm able to keep the prices really affordable for our customers.
That's a really clever business model, Janine. How did you stumble across that?
Well, I think it was just when I was searching, because when I first started, I started off just sort of selling really cheap jewellery that I bought, and I just wasn't happy with that. That was before my website, that was on a Facebook page. I wasn't proud of it, I wasn't happy with it, and I went, I can't do this. And I just started researching, really, just looking online and seeing what was available. And yeah, also I had some contacts in Indonesia, and we have a lot of our bangles made in Java, so I've got workshops there. And then Bali, you know, one of my favourite places. I had people I knew there who were craftsmen, and through sourcing different things, I came across some people in India. So I now get a lot of my stones from Jaipur and made over there. And it was all online, really researching, finding what I wanted, meeting people, having the conversations, asking if what I wanted was available, saying, look, I love that, but how could we do it to be more cost effective? How can this work for me? How can it work for you? It's really been about conversations, finding out how things can help me, but also help the other people. And I find that that's really where our success has come from, working together with our artisans and our suppliers.
Yeah, brilliant. I love it. That whole community that you've put together around your brand, it's fantastic. If you are listening, you are here with That's Audacious, and you can find more interviews like this on our podcast, but also on YouTube and wherever you get your favorite podcasts from. The links will be below this episode. You'll also find links below this to Desiderate Jewellery, so you can find out more about Janine and her amazing products, and you can place your orders there as well on her website. So please use that link to get there. Now, Janine, it's a little bit, your business has been a little bit like Phoenix rising from the ashes, really, hasn't it, out of what you've been doing? But what are some of the biggest challenges, other than, you know, getting started with no funding and that desperate need to earn an income and so on? What are some of the bigger challenges you've had to deal with to grow your brand and your business?
Well, funding obviously is an issue, because I had to make an income from day one, and I didn't have backup money. So the money that kept having to go back into the business. So if I had had funding to start with, certainly could have grown even faster, because I would have had more money for more stock, but we overcame that. One of the biggest challenges, I guess, you know, COVID, let's face it, it's been a challenge. Oh my goodness, for everybody. When COVID first started, I freaked out a bit, because I thought, oh my goodness, you know, first of all, when people don't know if they're going to have a job the next week or an income, why are they going to spend money on jewellery, particularly when they can't even go anywhere to wear it? And I was really concerned about that. And immediately in the first month, our sales dropped. And I thought, oh, here we go. But then I turned that around a little bit. I directed my marketing to people that were still employed a lot. And also my team and I here, and my customer service team, we actually had a good chat about it, and we allowed extra time to communicate with people. So when people were doing it tough and were scared and didn't know what was happening, we allowed time to have the conversation, to understand what they were going through and to help them through. And, you know, I'm a little bit woo-woo about gemstones and about the meanings of them. And a lot of people also were taking a bit of solace in the fact that they were able to buy stones that had a meaning behind them and had spiritual qualities. Whether or not they logically believe it or not, that's not really the issue. To have these beautiful qualities and stories behind stones really helped people. It made them feel better. They were able to offer them as gifts to their friends to show that they cared. And yeah, so getting through COVID was a big challenge, and that's sort of how we did it. We also had the holdups in COVID. So India was closed down for quite a while, and we had a lot of money tied up in pieces that couldn't get here. Then we had, remember that ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal? Well, that was full of our packaging. So that was, oh dear. Anyway, we got through that. And Indonesia was hit really, really hard with COVID. It was terrible because they don't have any government support like we have. They don't have a health system. And, you know, so yeah, there was a lot of issues there, and a lot of our artisan team had gone back to their villages. So it was all a struggle, but they really appreciate the fact that we were able to help them through. And our teams, their families, their extended families, without Desiderate, just couldn't have survived. And that's something that we feel really happy about. In fact, I've just got back from Indonesia. The minute it opened up, I was over there, and look, the gratitude is quite amazing, really. And it's really lovely to see them all and catch up with so many people. So yeah, COVID, postage, delays, they're challenges, but challenges we can get through.
Well, you do seem to be a very adaptable person, and you seem to have created a business model that enables your team around you to be adaptable as well, and come up with solutions and think on their feet and you know, pivot and change when they need to, which is really, really cool. What are you most proud of achieving though, Janine, in the time that you've had your business and what you're doing?
So in a couple of months, we will turn 5, which it feels like I keep saying, oh, we've just started, and all of a sudden it's 5 years, but we can't count the last 2.5 years because of COVID. No one can we? No. But through this time, probably in the last couple of years, I've won heaps of awards, and I'm really, really proud of them. It's been really surprising because I didn't understand about awards. I didn't realise, you know, I'd seen them and I thought, oh, well, doesn't everybody win, or doesn't everyone become a finalist? But no, that's not the case at all. And it started, I think I'd seen it was a webinar. I think I'd seen a few from the Audacious agency. I'd seen some posts here and there about things, and then I'd seen a webinar, and that got me really curious about entering some awards. And so first of all, it was the local business awards, and the first year I entered, and I was a finalist in that. And then I entered a couple of Stevie awards, and I won silver Stevie for Female Entrepreneur of the Year, which I was just like blown away. That was amazing. And then also Company of the Year. And then after that, I got some customer service awards through the Stevies again. I got silver for our loyalty program, and then for our ethics in customer service. I got some Mumpreneur awards. They're sort of piling up behind me now. It's I should say it's embarrassing, but it's not. I love it. I'm so proud of all the awards and how far we've come. But also it's my team members. Like, without my team, you know, the awards aren't for me. Like, particularly Company of the Year, that's my team. The loyalty program, that's my team that helps the customers. And ethics in customer service, it's my team. They're the ones that are dealing with the customers day to day. So, you know, I can't really take the credit for that, but I'm so pleased that they do it so well.
Well, you've done incredibly well, Janine. Your story is amazing. Congratulations on your 5 years, by the way. Are you celebrating your 5 years in some way?
I guess we'll have a sale because everyone loves that, or a birthday present from us to our customers.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love it. Well, I will make sure there's a link at the bottom of this fabulous episode with you. Some of the insights you've given us as a business owner and an entrepreneur have been fantastic, Janine. Would you like to finish up our interview today with any tips for someone who maybe is listening to this, either thinking of running their own business or has started in business as an entrepreneur and wants to stand out and build a profile and build a brand? What's some advice you might give them?
I think you really have to just be sure about what you're trying to do. So not necessarily, I'm not saying you can't change and pivot, because I do, but find the gap in the market that you want to fill. Know who your customer is. That's probably my biggest tip. Know who your customer is, know how they like to be communicated with, and look after them.
Yeah, that's brilliant advice. Thank you so much, Janine. So if you're listening to this, please reach out to Janine if you want to connect with her. Certainly check out her amazing jewellery and go shopping and enjoy yourself there. It's a beautiful product. And Janine, thank you so much for being on That's Audacious podcast and sharing your insight and your story. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you today and to hear your story. And I wish you all the best, especially 5 years celebration and onwards into the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lauren, for having me. I really appreciate you taking the time.